Hi guys, welcome to this week's vlog. This week we would like to just take a moment to thank all of you all who have been sharing, who have been liking all of the content created thus far. And currently we are dealing with that of Children's Authority and Child Protection in the context of Trinidad and Tobago. Last week we would have dealt with a particular incident that had occurred involving 5 young men, but of whom 2 were murdered while missing and in the care of Children's Authority. Now, Children's Authority has not really spoken much about this particular incident. They have not really come to the forefront of what we would like to hear from them. But I think it's important for me as a social work practitioner to really share with you why I started doing this vlog in the first place. This video series is a way for me to empower and for me to share different perspectives and different insights about psychosocial and social topics that we are faced with. Now this week, I would like for us to again turn back to child protection in the context of Trinidad and Tobago and by extension the Caribbean. I would like for us to discuss child protection. We are in the midst of Child Protection Month and Child Protection Awareness Month, and it's very important for us to discuss this in the context of all that has been happening with Children's Authority. And I would like to ask you all to share, and like the video. It's important for the video to be shared. It's important for it to be liked, or it really won't get anywhere. So one of the things that I would like to speak about this week would be Children's Authority would have spoken to the media. One particular media house would have released an article which was released on the 3rd of April, or last updated on the 3rd of April 2021. And some of the statistics that was released in that information was that mothers were on the highest rank of perpetrators of abuse towards their own children. Between the years of 2015 and 2021, 27,437 cases were reported to the Children's Authority. Of this number, 34.5% of the perpetrators against their children were mothers. That is an estimated amount of cases of 9,713 cases were reported over the said period. I would like for us to really look and reflect a bit on some statistics that was released on the 3rd of June 2015. Trinidad and Tobago's Guardian article says, mothers are the main offenders in child abuse and child neglect cases, according to the director of Children's Authority, Sharifa Ali Abdullah. Ali Abdullah was speaking at the launch of the Children's Authority Assessment Center at the Eric Williams Medical Science Complex. One of the things that I would like to say is that there is a gap between 2015 and 2021, which ultimately shows no difference in the type of abuse cases or in the perpetrators or alleged perpetrators of child abuse, inclusive of child neglect. Child neglect stood out as the most reported type of abuse towards children at a glaring 33.9% for an estimated 9,301 cases. Now, I would like us to remember that abuse or child abuse can include child neglect, child sexual abuse, child physical abuse, and so on and so on, not just child sexual abuse. Now, one of the things that we have been looking at would be the release in 2015 by the then director of the Children's Authority to now coming to 2021 to tell us the very same thing. one of the things that I would begin to ask is, are we not at any point going to petition the government or that there needs to be some type of change in our approach to dealing with child abuse? If you are identifying mothers or the primary perpetrator rather of child abuse in any functioning country, you would look at now what is called child safeguarding. Child safeguarding is really a difference of what Children's Authority is empowered to do by what they consider child care and protection, and look at child safeguarding from the perspective of using the data which tells us, okay, so mothers are being identified as a primary perpetrator for child abuse. How are we going to use this data to inform our resources, to inform our intervention, to inform our creation of programs and creation of different things? Look at child safeguarding. One of the things that you would want to see is that child protection is one and only one component of child safeguarding. Safeguarding is really a principle, it is really a policy position. So in a country really is serious about child safeguarding, and I would like to really change the conversation from child protection, because child protection really considers the activities that we do to the activities that we employ rather to take a child who is identified to be in harm's way or in danger and bring them into care and protection. However, when you look at child safeguarding, you are looking at an entire sphere of things. You are looking at having one avenue to care and protect for children who may be at risk, and you are also looking at the other components, working with schools, working with other agencies, working with families and community centers and so on, that really brings to life what things like this data that we receive from Children's Authority about mothers being perpetrators or primary perpetrators. Now, this may come as a shock to many of us who may be reading this. However, what I have found is actually that mothers being perpetrators is not really a very strange or far-fetched thing. Why? In fact, one of the things that I was able to find, United States Department of Health and Human Service, between the years 2001 and 2006, mothers made up 1,674,935 cases of abuse. Out of that, there were 2,269 fatalities caused by mothers, and not tells us is that we need to now start creating programs and support systems that help us to identify some of the causal factors of what a mother is being faced with to cause her to practice abusive behaviors. One of the major and fundamental things that Children's Authority said was that child neglect made up the largest type of abuse that was reported to them between 2015 and 2021. What does that mean? We are looking at single mothers, mothers who do not have the necessary support. They may not have the necessary finances, the education, the information, and so on. What we need to do in the context of child safeguarding is really to take this information and bring it to life. Let's examine what it is being said about what is causing mothers to do this, and how can we design programs to allow that statistic to change. Instead, it's very important for me to give this perspective, because this is how we are going to start having a conversation. looking at child protection in the context of child safeguarding, not just looking at statistics and being treading on very dangerous lines that creates mothers who practice different types of unhealthy parenting styles and parenting practices and call them microaggressive names such as momster. I want to say that that's not how we will solve this. That is not how we would fix this problem. This is a fundamental gap in our approach to child protection. We are too zoomed in. Our legislation is very, very, very limited because it gives the authority the type of work that does not really look at child safeguarding. It looks at child care and protection. I am making this video to ask any one of you all to share it. Do you see my point of view, and how do you think we can transform this type of information to a new type of approach to child protection? Now, I would give many examples of types of programs, parent education programs, and those have been found to be effective in preventing child neglect. However, culturally speaking, we have to now work with our mothers. We have to now take our mothers by the hand and help them to not develop abusive parenting practices. This is the only way that we can do it. I am saying that we cannot do this without each other. Child care and protection can only be successful in the context of child safeguarding. Child care and protection is one component of child safeguarding. The Board of Management of the Children's Authority, the Minister of Child Affairs in the Office of the Prime Minister, the Director of Children's Authority, we need to look at our approach. We need to make the movement to start looking at changing our approach, because we have been in a deficit. There are too many gaps in our system. Since the creation of Children's Authority, let's say 2014, 15-ish, to now, our statistics have not changed. What are we doing, and how can we change it? Guys, remember, share this video. Remember, like this video. Remember, please join me in helping raise awareness about the gaps of child protection in Trinidad and Tobago. Join me next week. We will be talking some more about different approaches.